What is up, everybody? My bike trainer has been sitting here in the corner of what has now become my live stream studio for, I think, 2 years without being touched. You know what? F this thing. I'm gonna just go for a short ride outside. Can't do my quick camera flip with these gloves on. So I thought I would try a little clothing experiment today. You know, I always favor a bunch of layers. Usually for me, base layer, maybe a wool t-shirt, my thicker surly wool, windbreaker, and then a vest. It's kind of my typical up top clothing. And then I could unzip them as I need if I get too warm. If I try to throw this down jacket over any of that, I could ride for a mile or two, and then I'll get overheated, my arms will start sweating and stuff. So today, since I was going for a chill ride, literally it's in the 20s, high 20s, I think it's 28 and dropping right now. I was wondering, so say I was just going to meet a friend at a brewery, or going to get cat food, a little shopping, so basically errands. Could I just throw on my thin wool base layer and a t-shirt in my down jacket and comfortably ride for a while? So I'm 1.9 miles in, which is 12 minutes, and right now I'm comfortable, and I'm gonna see if I get too hot or too cold. My face is cold. It's winter has been crazy. It just hit hard and fast. It's technically not even winter yet, but December's winter to me. So as everything is kind of a barrier to getting out the door in the winter, that's kind of the concept. So I'm usually walking around in my base layers at home anyways. So if I just have to throw my jeans, socks, shoes, and a jacket on, and then I'm wearing the lobster gloves that I've been mentioning in the last video, seal skins, bear wicks, something like that, makes it a little easy if I'm just going to be going for something not too far. Today I am going to try and set it up and talk a little bit about bike trainers and riding indoors, because my relationship with it has changed a couple times. Originally, when I had a friend tell me that, I'm gonna go ride just a trainer today, years ago, probably 2016, I'm like, why would anyone do that? The point of bikes is fun. Why would you want to sit inside and be on a trainer? Granted, when I was saying that, I used to run a lot. I was doing something that different, something that's definitely just a workout and not something you're doing just purely for fun. I do enjoy elements of running, but then I just remember like having a really hard winter, couldn't ride much. I saw the price of the Saris M2. I think at the time I bought it, it was about $300. I just looked at their website. These things are only they're under $200 now. One of my frustrations with indoor riding that's completely separate from anything that just is indoor riding is the particular trainer that I own. At first, I actually really liked it. I didn't know any better. Still the only trainer I've ever ridden, but I just know a lot more about trainers now. There's just a few issues I've always had with it since the beginning that started to annoy me later. So that's why I want to see if I could even get this thing working. Part of me thinks it sat for 2 years. Not that that should really affect it. I don't know. I always had issues. I don't remember if I stopped riding it when it was having another issue. So I am going to try and get my trainer set up. I'm going to give it one more chance. One other thing I'm thinking is I'm getting older. The ability to actually get a good workout in becomes more and more important, obviously. Yes, actually using it to stay in shape. I'm still not someone who's going to want to do interval training or any of that, but just enjoying the said video game aspect of Zwift. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out. It's just not in the cards for me right now to buy the trainer that I would want. From looking at stuff, it would probably be something like the Wahoo Kicker Core 2, something with enough modern tech that you're not going to have connectivity issues, but then also just that direct mount, direct drive, whatever they call it, so you're not using a rear wheel. Especially for someone like me whose trainer is definitely going to sit all spring, summer, and fall, but even most of the time in the winter. So it's weird. To get one that would be better for sitting would cost me more. But the whole thing about it is the ease of use. Going down to it, being able to hop on it, jump in the shower, and be done.
But like there was a huge novelty to riding on Zwift at first. Like I really liked, you got real world drafting. I liked the events. That first year I rode decent amount, sign up for different events, fondos, even did some races. They do a really good job of motivating you to ride with, you know, getting little rewards for doing a series of events and getting the jersey. I don't know, I think over time you build up stuff where you could buy new things and all that. It really worked for me, like the chatting. I'd be at the beginning of an event and I enjoyed like, anyone else from Ohio in here? And then you would get that, you know, response from people, and even just free riding, just being out on the road and getting a draft, and then you might try to race someone just for the heck of it. Basically what happens here is I have a flat tire and I've flatted on my trainer, it's a wheel-on trainer, a bunch of times. I've never heard of anyone else having that problem. I've ruined tires. I don't know what's up. I think the Saris M2 is basically a piece of shit. I'd rather ride outside than deal with it.
So 4.5 miles. Been out here for about 25 minutes. My average is just under 11, so for me, not going that hard. And I will say, I could tell that I will end up being too hot if I was doing something harder or trying to ride farther. My arms are already getting fairly warm, but not sweaty yet. So for the record, I did not buy this jacket with the intention of riding in it anyways. It's that emergency piece of kit that's always in my bag in the winter. You get a flat tire, you throw it on so you don't lose all your body heat. Spring and fall events when you might be standing around or camping, all that kind of thing. So this jacket definitely serves its purpose, but just a little too warm for most riding for any extended period of time. You know what people don't talk about enough with lobster gloves? The huge downside? You can't flick off asshole drivers.
So that's a lot of the kind of riding I end up doing in the winter. Just getting out, riding around the neighborhood, avoiding the paths when they're in bad shape. So I was basically just, you know, riding to get some miles in and to be moving. So tonight I am going to try and get the trainer set up again. Coincidentally, it's kind of funny because I was thinking when I got home from my photo shoot tonight, University of Akron holiday party, I thought, you know what, I'll get the trainer set up, and if I can get it working, maybe I'll do a live stream from the trainer like I used to do. I decided to eat dinner and then work on some photos from the event. And while I was doing that, Terry Berenson went live on his trainer. So instead I watched that and got a bunch of work done. Now I don't want to get all hot and sweaty, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to get this to work. So I'm just going to do that and then save it for tomorrow. One of the things I've often said about the trainer, and I'll say it again right here, is in my case, it's usually I'm not riding indoors instead of riding outside. I'm riding indoors instead of not riding. Because like tonight, it was rain all day. I didn't even ride to the gig because my camera gear and all that, and it was just gross. Like 35 and rainy, like the worst weather you can have. And then it turned to snow, and so everything was freezing, and it was going to be too icy and just too dangerous tonight. By the way, it is the second Edmund-versary. I brought Edmund in 2 years ago tonight from the alley outside. I was laying there in bed, thinking about that cat that was in the alley, thinking, how cold can cats get? Googling it all. Couldn't take it anymore. I walked outside. He was laying up against the wall. I tried to build him a house. He wouldn't use it. I said, Edmund, I didn't know his name then. I said, come on, guy. He followed me right in. I have a bed down here in the basement that guests can use. I didn't want him up in the house. He laid right down next to me and started making the biscuits, and I was drinking a Great Lakes Edmund Fitzgerald, so the rest is history. Having what I kind of consider a Christmas time beer, a dark Belgian beer, I kind of feel like this is the basis for what the American style Christmas ale became. Then they started adding spices and all that to it. That is just so good. Anyways, so it was interesting to watch Terry. He's just started riding a trainer. Like he said too, he used to be against it, just like my whole thing was, why would I ever ride a trainer? Then I got into it, then I stopped riding it. It's whatever. But he was doing a workout plan, like an FTP builder or whatever, and he's just picked that as a way to maintain shape. Like you said, he's not really training for anything. And that's kind of will be the same with me. It's just like keeping the legs moving. And what I'm finding now is like with this last couple weeks after riding almost every day all year, I'm just like, it affects my mood. I just am not as happy. And even though riding indoor doesn't give me the same, like, kind of, I don't know, mental experience, feeling better as riding outside does, the activity really does. So just, you know, the exercise, as I said on the outdoor ride, as I get older, I think that's going to become pretty important. But the thing is, I've never cared about, like, the thing about using Zwift, like the number stuff has never motivated me. So the training plans have never motivated me. So what helps me is more the video game aspect of just riding through different worlds, building up, you know, you get new bikes, all the little stuff they do in Zwift that just kind of helps keep you motivated, streak stuff and all that. That works way better for me than the training stuff because I just don't, personally, I don't care about numbers. And that's why it was interesting because it's the same thing I say about everything, whatever works for you. And, you know, Zwift and all these other programs all have just different things that might help you get through the winter. Trying to party because it's the Edmundversary. So what I'm gonna do is, since there's a flat tire, I'm gonna pull a road bike off the wall and steal the tube from there. And I'm gonna take this Motobacon because this is a bike that I wanna use as a project bike this winter. I'm not sure what the plan is, but a friend gave this to me. This was, you know, his touring bike and everything. And he's older, gotta be in his, man, mid 80s. So he had put the riser bars on there, but gave me the original drop bars. I'm not sure what my move is with it yet, but I want to do something cool with French bike. So for now, since it's going to come apart anyways, I'll steal the tube from this bike. As much as like I did start to kind of enjoy, in a way, the trainer, I was very limited on how long I could spend on it. It's been 2 years now, so I don't quite remember what my limit was, but I definitely got to a point where it's like, this is how long I could sit on one of these, and it's definitely not as long as other people. I don't think that's really gonna change. Oh, these are all crusty. So what happened is, it kind of coincided with bringing in Edmund, really, because it was, you know, just it's December 10th as I'm recording this. So it was starting to get cold, and I'm thinking like, oh, maybe it'll start to be trainer season again. When I brought in Edmund, he, like, since he was always around my bikes, he was never really afraid of me rolling a bike in the door. He doesn't get out of the way. He's not afraid of the pedals or the spokes. I was a little nervous that if I got on the trainer, you know, mine being wheel on, the wheel spinning, that, as I said in Terry B's stream tonight, Edmund would get decapitated. But so I just got out of the habit of riding the trainer that year, and then it turned out not to be that rough of a winter, and I just rode outdoor enough to keep it going. Last year, I just kind of, always forced myself outside. And as I've said, this year, the bad weather, whatever you want to consider it, but bad riding weather has hit so fast that, you know, it's not even technically winter yet. And had a couple weeks with just a couple days of riding, and that just doesn't work for me. So, and like I said, tonight, I just, you know, if the trainer was set up, I would have ridden on the trainer a little bit. I was not going to go outside. These are going to be hard to get off, I could tell. I might have picked the wrong bike to try and get a tube out of, because there's some dry rot going on and stuff like that. But I don't know, we'll see what happens. My whole goal is to see if I could get this thing going. Anyways, one thing that I've been thinking about for a while now, but it really does like have to do kind of with the YouTube stuff as well, is that when I do something or show something different, I get comments from certain old timers that are like, you know, we tried that back in the day, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm trying not to be that person about things. Like something new comes out, there are certain things that aren't going to be to my taste, but when, you know, a new idea comes around or something like that, to like give it a fair shake. And I guess I'm saying that in relation to the trainer, because when I was rejecting the idea of trainers out of hand, my thought was that you're on basically an exercise bike just sitting there trying to watch a TV show. And that concept did nothing for me. I had no idea that, you know, I would enjoy a little bit of a smart trainer where you could actually feel the hills, feel the draft, and then have different worlds to ride in. Just all that to say that, you know, the one, I feel bad for this guy. I guess I feel like I'm always picking on him because I always use this as an example. But when I did a video on waxing chains, you know, a guy's like, oh, we tried all that with paraffin wax back in the day. And it's like, yeah, you know, like, And to use a brand name, like, Silka wax isn't, the same as like waxing your chain with paraffin wax, and just the people who are still stuck on skinny tires and high tire pressure when even the pros don't ride like that anymore. So I don't know, just trying to keep that in mind, that now that I'm 10 years in on, really being into riding bikes, I've ridden a bike my whole life, but like 10 years on knowing what a chainstay is and my gearing is and all that kind of stuff, and caring about bikes and learning from all you guys. I just not to be like whatever in 2015 I was like doing or something I tried and I was like, oh, I didn't like that, to be like, hey, maybe it's changed and maybe I've changed. Just to keep that open mind. That obviously extends way beyond cycling, but this is a cycling YouTube channel, so that's what we're talking about. I would say another one of those little things for me before was I started trying to ride on a wheel-on trainer without a trainer-specific tire, and it just chewed through those so bad. For some reason, I've never felt like, as I've mentioned, that my trainer was quite right, and I've actually ruined a trainer-specific tire too. But it's another one of those things where I'll hear from people like, I ride on a wheel-on trainer and I've never used a trainer-specific tire, blah, blah, blah. I'm totally glad that works for you. As I said in the winter video, like, ride your truth. If it works for you, cool. Non-trainer tires do not work for me. Oh man, as someone who doesn't really mess with my road bikes anymore, the struggle, I forgot about getting, a trainer tire is way tougher. Mess with road bike tires anymore either. I do have to say one thing, you see all the road bikes in the background. I'm not answering specific questions in this video on them. As I said in the last video, search at the top of the page. I have a whole video on every single bike I own, then I have specific ones on all of them. I have to say I'm finally thinking about trying to get rid of a couple. It's one of those things where I'm like, bikes should be ridden, they shouldn't just sit. So for me, the idea is, there's a couple that are sentimental and they would never go anywhere. I'm not a motivated seller, so I think the price would reflect what I had into them if I do put them out, and I might just keep it to local pickup only. I don't really think I want to deal with having to try and pack up bikes and ship them, and I don't think it's worth it for what they would go for. None of these things are super fancy. Like, my steel road bike is decent and it's 9-speed Dura Race, but even that stuff isn't super valuable right now. So I don't know, I'll see, but it's something I'm considering. Instead of having these hang on the wall, sell them off. The other thing is then that clears room to do more projects. I do like to tinker with bikes in the winter and stuff like that. Like I was saying, I kind of want to do something with the Motobicon, so maybe move through them. And one of the problems is with mid and low range bikes, it would be cool just to like always constantly work on something and flip it, but there's just not the money there. Besides, by the time you do like the cables and the housings and put new tires and tubes, if you need to rewrap the bar tape, you've already almost you're not going to be able to make your money on the project. I haven't checked on the market lately, but that's the way it was last time I was looking at it. I don't know, maybe there's maybe I get a seller's premium because you're getting a YouTuber Tim Fitzwater's bike. I'm gonna start being that cocky about everything. Someone's gonna be like, that's a $40 Peugeot on Craigslist. That's a $40 Peugeot if it wasn't owned by Tim Fitzwater. This thing has provenance. One of my problems with this trainer has always been, it has never seemed to make sense the way this thing tightens down. Saris reached out to me, and I don't know if it's because maybe my video that originally had this trainer in it. So I talked to Saris, or Saris, however it's pronounced, in two completely different ways. One was through their help channel, totally unrelated, but their marketing team obviously reached out to me, and then they said, hey, we'll send you a direct drive trainer if you want to try one of those. And I was like, I would love to. I was like, I've been using your wheel-on trainer, and to be honest, I'm just not quite that big of a fan. And I was like, I can compare the two. Then nothing. And it's one of those things where I'm so annoyed. It's like, I don't expect anyone to send me anything for free because I have a YouTube channel, but they reached out to me. It's like, moral of the story is fuck Saris. I hate this trainer. Don't buy one of their trainers. All right, let's see if I still even have the Saris app on my phone and if we could get it to connect to this trainer. I need to use Bluetooth, searching for sensors. So Saris app, I hope they've done something in these intervening 2 years, because the app pretty much lets you do nothing. And I think, you know, it gives you what you do with the wheel on trainer is a spin down test, and that's how you calibrate it. It was like an awful, awful experience, because what it does, oh, it says connected, that's good. Let's do a firmware update. So basically it walks you through a step of riding up to a certain level of pedaling. And then what you do is you stop, and I think it's how long it takes the roller or the wheel to stop is how it's calculating your wattage or whatever it's doing, so that it could pair with Zwift and you could use all the stuff. It just all of a sudden just says stop. There's no, like, how hard would it be to have like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you stop on 1, like in a cadence so you understand it. So I would do that test like 5 times, knowing that I always had put in another half pedal. Oh, watch that, Edmund. I don't want Edmund to spill my beer. When I'm down here in the stream studio, for those of you who watch live streams, you know Edmund sits in my lap, so he's down here like, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna hang out, bud? So oh yeah, this is updating, so cool. Yeah, so it's really bad at the spin down test. So I'm gonna show you here one of my major annoyances with this trainer, and it's a question that I got often when I had the video that was still getting views about, I think it was just called like my Pain Cave tour or whatever. But there's a yellow dial on here on the back, and you're supposed to turn it until like your gas cap, you know, you just turn your gas cap until it starts clicking. If I would turn this to the level where that would stop happening, this tire would be pushed against the rim even at 110 PSI. So there's no way that this is the way it's supposed to be, but I hear that comment all the time. So it's just bad design. You probably can't see that, but it is just so pushed into the tire. I always stop even though it's supposed to keep going. I'm like, long as it's not slipping, but maybe that's the reason too why that I've ruined tires and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just, again, it's a $300 trainer, and it's only, I think it's $200 now, and I guess it is what it is. All that just to say, if you think you're gonna be able to ride a trainer, you think you'll ride it at least a little bit, with the way the prices have gone on these things, you know, a Wahoo Kicker Core 2. So even though I'm wearing my slippers, my jeans, and my wool cap, I'm gonna attempt to calibrate this trainer. The firmware got stuck and I was worried I bricked it, but apparently I didn't. So sending 50-watt request. I also did not put my, you know, I need to put a phone mount on this. It said calibration succeeded. I didn't do anything yet. So yeah, that is my problem with this trainer. Obviously, it didn't work. So where is the cat? I'm worried Edmund will go in the spokes. He said he's not afraid of bikes. Well, I have to say, this is one thing I was afraid of. I do not want Edmund to stick a paw in there. So I tried to calibrate a couple more times. They didn't update the system. It's still just absolute trash. But I cannot get Zwift to open on the computer. So I'm like, stop worrying about the calibration. Let's get the next step in the process going. That's, I'm sure, my computer's fault. It's doing a bunch of updating, but it's already 10 o'clock at night, so we will continue this saga another day. So I decided to go and edit this video. I did try to get Zwift open again. It just won't open. I've done the graphic driver updates, blah, blah, blah. So I am going to go outside and ride again today. The trainer's supposed to be the easy thing to do, not the hard thing to do, but mid-20s, it's snowing, so we're gonna do a snow ride, make a snow ride video. Thanks for following along on this kind of ridiculous, all over the place video. I will see you in the next one.